वेलकम बैक टू अनदर वीडियो। आज की वीडियो में अपन इसका चैप्टर 3 चालू करेंगे, जहाँ से अपन ने लास्ट टाइम का चैप्टर 2 ख़त्म कर दिया था बहुत मुश्किल से। 2 वीडियो लगी गाइस, 2 वीडियोस, मतलब इतना बड़ा चैप्टर था। ज़्यादा कुछ हुआ नहीं उस चैप्टर में, बट तब भी स्टोरी बहुत अच्छी थी गाइस। कुछ भी हो, थर्ड चैप्टर की स्टोरी क्या पता अच्छी हो ना हो, वैसे तो अच्छी है, मैंने तो पढ़ा हुआ हूँ, लेकिन तब भी गाइस वो पढ़ने में बहुत मज़ा आ रहा है अभी फ़िलहाल। अगर आप लोग को भी मज़ा आ रहा हो वीडियोस में तो वीडियोस को लाइक करिए और चैनल को सब्सक्राइब कर लीजिए अगर आपने मेरी वीडियो पहली बार देख रहे हैं और मेरा फेस पहली बार देख रहे हैं। गाइस चलिए स्टार्ट करते हैं, नहीं तो फिर आप लोग जानते हैं ज़्यादा टाइम हो जाता है तो फिर आप लोग ज़्यादा लंबी वीडियोस देखते नहीं हैं और फिर बोलते हैं कि कम टाइम क्यों नहीं चाहिए, कम टाइम क्यों नहीं चाहिए। चलिए स्टार्ट करते हैं चैप्टर 3, इंटरोगेशन एट लंच। इंटरोगेशन एट लंच। पता नहीं क्यों गाइस, लास्ट टाइम से मेरा माउस बहुत परेशान कर रहा है मेरे को। पता नहीं, शायद कोई आत्मा न घुस गई हो उसमें या फिर आप चाहते हैं ताकि मेरा माउस निकल जाए। उसके लिए तो गाइस आप लोग को पहले सब्सक्राइबर्स बढ़ाने पड़ेंगे, फिर उसके बाद करेंगे ये सब। तो मैं पहुंच गया हूँ चैप्टर 3 पे। अब थोड़ा सा जूम इन कर लेता हूँ। कहाँ गया, हाँ ये रहा। Guys, let's start. Chapter 3, Interrogation at Lunch. Amani-kun, how about lunch? After the morning class over, Mahiru carried a bag over and walked to Amani's seat. There were 2 bentos inside. Bentos मतलब lunch guys, Japanese है. Amani planned to have lunch with the usual group during break time, but he was hesitant since it could cause trouble for everyone instead. Although he sometimes ate lunch with Kazuya and Makoto. सर आप लोग जानते ही होंगे कादोवाकी और वो उसका जो एक और दोस्त रहता है मकोतो। काजुया और मकोतो, पता नहीं क्यों दो दो नाम यूज़ कर रहे हैं, कहीं कादोवाकी कर देंगे, कहीं काजुया कर देंगे, कहीं कुछ कर देंगे। सरनेम कभी सरनेम यूज़ कर रहे हैं, कभी नेम यूज़ कर रहे हैं, पता नहीं गाइस कुछ तो है। अगर आप लोग को वो रहेगा तो मैं वहाँ पे फ़ोटोज़ डाल दूँगा ताकि आप लोग को पता चल जाए कौन कौन की बात चल रही है। Now talking to them regularly, they still refuse to eat with him today on the basis lone wolves like us shouldn't witness the carnage. Sadly, Amane didn't have confidence to deny their words. Slept during classes after all. If you are okay with it, Itsuki, let's eat together. आप इत्सकी को भी जानते होगे, वो उसका दोस्त है जो ज़्यादातर उसके साथ घूमते रहता है। Do you really think we wouldn't join you? Itsuki, Chitose and Yuta all approached Amane and Mahiru with their walls smiling worriedly. Yeah, don't talk like that. It will be the same as usual, Itsuki. Itsuki बहुत मजा लेता है यार, इसकी कुछ भी कहो। On to the next page. After all, if no one is here to stop you too, the number of dead people around would greatly increase. I think it'd be better to have us here. No comment. Considering the interaction between the couple today, Amani could understand what Itsuki was saying, but he was still uneasy about it. Of course, Amane didn't outright plan to do things, but he and Mayu were prone to entering their own world without realizing it. Is he worried were somewhat justified. Yeah. Anyway, we'll just act the same before. Well, for me, I hope Mayu will attack more and escalate things further. आप सोच सकते हैं गाइस ये किसने बोला होगा, कमेंट करके बताइएगा। If it comes to that, I won't be able to stand around you guys anymore. Your feelings are just too sweet, even just thinking about it. You too, Kadawaki. My face is getting hotter just imagining it. Although seeing you two being happy is also nice. As their smiles were filled with pure blessing, Amani was speechless. Then Kadawaki added, but you still have to pay attention to the surrounding, otherwise it will be unbearable for others. Regarding this point, Amani could understand Kuju and Hirangi's rejection, so he nodded seriously. Then to the cafeteria, right? I don't have a bento, so I have to buy lunch for the lines. From the lines, sorry guys. Let's go. What today's set meal? I think it was fried chicken. It was fried chicken. Oh, not bad. The fried chicken here is very delicious, and the skin is pretty thin. Itzki chuckled, then waved his wallet and walked out. Amani silently thanked him and followed behind them to enter the cafeteria. Amani kun, this is your lunch. Amani kun, this is your lunch. In the cafeteria, their group occupied 5 seats. After the three who brought food returned, Mahiru took out bento from her bag and handed it over to him. Handed it over to him. Then Mahiru took out her own bento box. Amani's share was bigger, although Amani didn't eat a lot. The appetite of male high school student was larger than a girl, and this much was needed to satisfy his appetite. Well, thank you. Mariu's bento look great. It's not for you. How's Thingy? Chitose popped her cheeks cutely, but fortunately Mahiru offered her own share. You may take some of mine. Her balloon face quickly deflated. On to the next page. ये देखिए गाइस, फोटोज में आप देख सकते हैं कितनी क्यूट है यार ये. Although Chitose acted very childish, her carefree smile, words, actions, and expressions that came with it made Itsuki look very pleased. Watching the conversation between the two girls, Amani opened the lid of his bento. It contained the leftover chicken with small tomato and spinach, butter, fries, corn flavored in soy sauce, boiled broccoli, printed octopus sausage, and last of all, Amani's favorite omelette. गाइस, मतलब क्या है ये, क्या हो क्या रहा है ये. इसलिए शायद लोग बोलते हैं enemies can become real. Cannot become real, sorry guys. सही बात है, एनिमी स्टोरीज अगर रियल होने लगी तो हो गया गाइस, हो गया बस. फिर लोगों का मरना ही बाकी रह जाएगा. तो चलिए नेक्स्ट पेज पे. There were a lot of main dishes, so Amani's big appetite was taken into consideration. Amani would eat anything and also liked to have vegetables, but having meat would promote his appetite. Coupled with eggs like he liked, Amani was full of energy. I made more, Amani-kun. Okay, I think I'll do my best for another afternoon. So, with the omelette alone, such an excursion. No, I'm serious. I'm serious. Amani liked his eggs dishes a lot. For him, omelets ended up stimulating his energy more than meat would. Therefore, the increase in portion was exactly what he wanted. Amani likes. अच्छा हाँ, ये तो पता चला. Amani hurried said, "Itadakimasu, itadakimasu." अरे जैसे वो नहीं बोलते हैं गाइस, प्रेयर टाइप की. नहीं, प्रेयर भी नहीं, क्या बोलते हैं, लेट्स ईट इट. हाँ, itadakimasu. Expressing his gratitude to the food as well as Mahiru before extending his chopsticks towards the omelette. When eaten, it was damp and slippery. After a bite, the stock oozed out. Guys, light on करके देखूं क्या? 1 मिनट. हाँ. So guys, मैंने लाइट ऑन कर ली. आप देख सकते हैं कैसा लग रही है. लाइट ऑन के बाद थोड़ा अच्छा लग रहा है मेरे को. चलिए फिर से स्टार्ट करते हैं. When eaten, it was damp and slippery. After a bite, the stock oozed out. The fresh fragrance and sweet were intertwined, making Amani raise the corner of his mouth into a smile. The omelette was delicious, that Amani couldn't bear to swallow it immediately. He chewed slowly, enjoying the taste of it on the tips of his tongue. When he should eat slowly as precaution, but more important to him, he just wanted to savor it for as long as possible. Amani ate his bento with concealing the joy of his in his expression, as if saying it was delicious as always. Yuta looked at him, let out a sigh. You're really enjoying the food, Fujimiya. You're really enjoying it? Or you guys have the next page here? You're really enjoying the page. Food, sorry guys. You're right, it was delicious. I know that, but Sheena must be very proud of herself when you are eating it so deliciously. Yuta spoke to Mahiru, who looked at Amani with a smile on her face. Her cheeks were slightly red, smiling, she said, yes, Amani can always praise me for the delicious food. I am very grateful. The hard work I put in cooking wasn't in vain after all. It feels great if someone cooks for me, not to mention it's very delicious. I have mastered the Manikun's preference and I will continue to work hard in the future. It's okay to carry on as usual. I still want to cater your preference completely. Amani-kun, I think you can just do what you like. Everything you cook is so delicious, Mahiru. Amani had no plan to leave Mahiru. And he hasn't expecting Mahiru to adjust around him. And he also wanted to learn what Mahiru herself liked. He didn't want Mahiru to accommodate him blindly, but for the two of them to adjust each other together, Amani also wanted her to cater to her own preference too. Amani nodded emotionally while eating the octopus shaped sausage, which was a cute face painted on the sesame seeds. Beside him, Mahiru smiled embarrassed and shrank her shoulder. बहुत मस्त है guys. Seeing the faint blush on her face, Amani couldn't help but to look around and saw the dumbfolded look in Itsuki's eyes. You two are immersed in flirting before we could even stop. Seriously, what should we do? That wasn't flirting. Chi, are you listening to this? It means this is just the beginning of them, not their level of flirting yet. Hey, the pair of you. This was a little subtler than what you did in the classroom. In that way, you could say you weren't flirting. However, even this much wouldn't show the other they have no chance to intervene at all. Hearing those words, Amani shifted his gaze from the desk to the surrounding seats and found boys in the same senior grade glaring at him. Although the gaze was full of murderous intent, after Myro glanced there they hurriedly looked away, so he understood very well. I'm not sure whether I should be ashamed of being hurt by them or I should be happy that I held back compared to this morning. Amani showed a stiff smile and Yuta whispered, I thought you did it deliberately. Seriously, your relationship's great, but it's way too easy for you to enter in your own privacy world. Shouldn't you pay more attention? Although you added another sentence, it was time. His voice was a little helpless, and Amani pursued his lips in response. Why I'm being surrounded? Back in the classroom after lunch, the boy gathered around him. Mahiru seemed to left to the buy a drink and Chitose, so she said she wasn't in the classroom. So guys, आपको अमानी को अपने अपने बंदे को इन लोग ने घेर लिए हैं और अब सोच रहे हैं कि क्या करें इसके साथ, क्या करा जाएगा, क्या होता है, चलिए देखते हैं गाइस. Mahiru seems to have left. Mahiru भी नहीं है guys classroom. Iskren Yuta saw Amani being surrounded, yet they have just smiled and said, okay, just calm down and answer the question. And they began preparing for the next class. मतलब देखो, ये दोस्त है मतलब इसको अकेला छोड़ दिया guys. Those two are just Amani's thought. If he couldn't handle this situation very well. How could he interact with others easily in the future, especially Mahiru? After thinking this, he had no choice but to silently sigh in his heart and then obviously let everyone surround him. It was mostly boys that gathered. They simply wanted to vent their dissatisfaction with him. No merciless intent involved. The atmosphere they gave off went immediate, Amani at least. Intermediate, हाँ सही पढ़ा था यार, मतलब intermediate लिखा है लेकिन intermediate ही है. Intimidate. You are so annoying. You are the thief of the century, stealing everyone's angel like that. How can I become thief of the century? Besides, Mahiru isn't for everyone. I'm so envious that you are getting home with pantos made by the angel. On to the next page. Guys, पता नहीं कब खत्म होगा. We are already JJ. पता नहीं कब खत्म. Guys, आप लोग तो समझ ही सकते हैं. All the singles, peace out. Comment. We are already dating after all. I can help you if you are complaining about this stuff, but you picked the lone flower so easily. Actually, it wasn't that easy. Everyone voiced their dissatisfaction, but the voices were more like awkwardness or anger, and they weren't too harsh on him. Although the boys showed slightly jealousy towards Avani, they didn't seem to oppose the relationship itself. Itsuki, who strongly ear-dropping, looked towards him and smiled, tilting his head. It seemed there was no salvation for the poor Amani. Anyway, how do you two even meet? You said that you meet last year, but how? Why? What should I say? There was a time I was soaked in the rain, so I lent her my umbrella and started a conversation. That's it. It wasn't just that, though. It actually more like meeting Mahiru. She couldn't stand how my life was in such a mess and started to care of me. You too lucky, you know that. You know that. I can't deny that encounter between Aman and Mahir was full of coincidence. So coincidence. Coincidence. If Mahiru didn't receive a call from her mother that day, if Amani didn't notice her at the park, if he actually took a good bath, he messed up somehow, then the two of them wouldn't have gotten together. In short, it was almost fate. If any of the conditions weren't met, they would not have developed a relationship like that. Guys, ये तो rhyming थी. If any of these conditions weren't met, they might not have developed a relationship like that. Therefore, the romance between Mahiru and Amane must have been miracle. Amane struggled, closed his eyebrows and smiled. Then the classmate in front of him slightly sighed. I'm not trying to belittle you, but I really don't understand why the angels like you. In terms of look academics, there must be someone better than you. Although I understand how you two met, I wonder how there was any opportunity for her to fall in love when she fell in love with me, or why I haven't asked Mahiru about this, so I don't know either. Amani only understood that Mahiru admired him admired him. But since when did she started to have such feelings, Amadi didn't know. He couldn't answer this question by himself. Only Mayu herself could. Amani smiled obviously not knowing how to answer briefly. After another student laughed since he helped out the study meeting hosted by Mayu last week. This student has started to occasionally chat with Amani. I can probably guess a little bit, but Fujimiya is always calm alongside with being considerate for others and their feelings. The angel probably fell for those qualities of his right. Yes, it seems that Sheena doesn't particularly like popular people. Maybe instead of choosing people who will expect something from her, she prefers just being the company of someone peaceful, right, Fujimiya? Right? Right? गाइस 18-19 हो गए गाइस, जल्दी खत्म करनी पड़ेगी. Maybe not talk well, but never denies others or treat but others full, so it wouldn't be really too easy to stay with him. Speaking of which, now that I think about it, Fujime seems to be really fond of Sheena. It was like that during the study meeting and during the physical education class and cooking practice. You are so gentle with her even when barely manage your own body. Make sure to protect her, man. So that's how Fujimiya was taking care about Sheena in the shadows. The two boys begin to ignore Amane and start praising him. Amane hurriedly glared at both of them. Hey, Konano, Yamazaki, that's enough. Look, he's shy. That so-called frankiness of his head. I get it, you two, the two didn't seem too afraid of Amane's glare at all. It was better for those two to envy him to listen to their conversation, but Amane was feeling uncomfortable in the face of their comments. The unfamiliar laughter was heard from the outside of the car. Although Amane kept to himself, he really loyal and considerate. Mahirun must have fell for that. It said, is that so? Where'd Shirakawa? When did you show up? Chitose wasn't in the classroom before, poked her head inside. It's because lunch break is almost over. Because beside, I got a message telling me you were surrounded by everyone while we were away, so I came back to take a look. By the way, Mahirun is here too. Yes, I'm sorry, the person is center attention. Mahirun spoke with somewhat apologetic expression. गाइस 21 मिनट हो गए, ये वाला पेज ख़त्म करके फिर नेक्स्ट वीडियो में करेंगे. The person at the center of the attention, Mahiru spoke with a somewhat apologetic expression. Class would resume in afternoon. The person of interest would surely find out since it was being discussed in the classroom. Everyone understood in their mind, but they appeared to have gotten carried away. Amane sneaked a glance over towards Iski and saw him shaking the phone in his hand. He was the culprit that called Chitose and Mahirun back. Sorry guys. Seeing Amane surrounded by everyone, Mahirun smiled helplessly and approached him. Today, Amane's side was solely Mahirun territory. She didn't care about gaze of the crowd. I never have mentioned Amane-kun. Why do I like him? It's difficult to answer, but it is because Amane-kun accepted me myself and treated me with respect and cherished every bit of me. Her calm voice sounded very gentle. I have also said before, although Amane seemed to be indifferent to the people around him, he actually considerate and gentlemanly. He will lend a hand when others are uncomfortable and won't talk about superficial comforts casually. He has been watching me. गाइस ये कौन सा पेज है? 78 79 पेज में है अपन. देखता हूँ कितना बचा है. 81 82 384 और 87 पेजेस तक है. तो गाइस अपन अब नेक्स्ट वीडियो में करेंगे बाकी के पेजेस. वो एक शॉर्ट वीडियो टाइप की रहेगी, तो उसमें फिर आपको सही लगेगा क्योंकि आप लोग को लॉन्ग वीडियोस तो पसंद नहीं है. तो तब तक के लिए गाइस, अगर आपको वीडियो अच्छी लगी है तो वीडियो को लाइक करिएगा, चैनल को सब्सक्राइब करिए अगर आप नए हो तो, और अपने दोस्तों के साथ ज़रूर शेयर करिए ताकि आपका तो गम है ही, दोस्तों को भी गम हो जाए. सो बाय गाइस, जय हिंद, जय भारत, जय श्री राम, बाय.
These brothers my guys, know that we fly, know that they ride or die. Brother wanna